So here's a bit of personal background for you. I got COVID towards the end of last year, sometime in October 2020. And though I was lucky enough to make a full recovery, I was left with this really unnerving brain fog for several months afterwards that I just could not shake. The best way I could describe it is that I just didn't feel nearly as sharp as I had previously been. Let me put it this way. If you're someone who needs prescription glasses, it would be a bit like you taking these prescription glasses off and seeing the world around you without them. Everything would be a little blurry. But it wasn't my vision that was blurry, it was my mind and my thinking that felt blurry, the thing that I, like most people I know, treasure the most about my health. Brain fog appears to be one of the key features of long COVID, a constellation of varied symptoms experienced by people long after they've recovered or at least tested negative for the coronavirus. According to most sources, brain fog symptoms include finding it hard to concentrate and multitask, along with reduced cognition and impairments in both short and in long-term memory. And so, today I'll be doing my best to explain the science behind brain fog and how a new experimental nootropic drug, ISRIB, could potentially be the key to rescuing our brains from the perpetual fog. My name is Hesham and this is Dr. Tell Me Why, a medical health channel where I explain the science behind how you can live longer, stronger, and healthier. This video is part 3 of part 3. Over the last couple of weeks I published 2 other videos, one on the effects of chronic stress on the brain and the other on exercise and how exercise can improve and protect brain function. Should you wish to watch these 2 videos, you obviously can and absolutely should. There will be links in the description below, so make sure to check those out. So, one of the key features of COVID that is responsible for many of its symptoms is a double-edged sword we call inflammation. Inflammation can be best described as being your immune system's response to being attacked by the outside world. It's what your body does to make sure it destroys an invading pathogen, like a virus. And if the virus is the reason that people get sick with COVID, inflammation is the reason they stay sick. At least that's according to several studies that were able to illustrate the presence of inflammation in the absence of any viral particles in the brains of deceased COVID-19 patients. And inflammation in this context, where there are no real viruses to fight against, is just bad. But it's actually worse for your brain than you might initially think. And that's because your brain is constantly churning out new proteins. These proteins, they do just about everything inside your cells, and so naturally they're incredibly complex, and also so breathtakingly beautiful. But this complexity, to me at least, is an Achilles heel because it makes such a vital process like protein synthesis incredibly sensitive to a wide variety of things, like inflammation. So inflammation gets in the way and makes this process more error-prone. Structural errors will translate to misfolded proteins that are unable to perform their function adequately. And what you really don't want to be doing is building wonky, deformed proteins in the brain, as these deformed proteins are in the habit of accumulating in brain tissue, thus contributing to the development and progression of neurodegenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Now, your cells have a way of dealing with this conundrum, and this is through the integrated stress response. As you can tell from the name, the integrated stress response is a signaling network whose job is to send stress inside the cell, in this case, inflammation. The response will be to cut back on protein synthesis in an effort to reduce the likelihood of these deformed proteins forming. But this has the unintended consequence of resulting in memory impairment. This is because protein synthesis is an absolute requirement for the formation of long-lasting memories in almost all known species. So much so that the activation of the integrated stress response in old age has been implicated in brain aging and the age-associated decline in memory. In other words, as one grows older, the integrated stress response becomes more active and fewer proteins are made, and thus fewer things can be remembered. And a very similar thing could be happening right now inside the brains of those who are experiencing post-COVID or long COVID brain fog. Runaway inflammation could be activating the integrated stress response signaling pathway, thus inhibiting the formation of new proteins and impairing memory and other cognitive functions. Which is why I think you will find a one-page PDF document with a summary of all the key points of this video helpful to look over. This one-page PDF document will also include a comprehensive list of all my references, so if you wish to download it, you can use the link in the description below. And while you're down there, you may want to leave a comment telling me what you think helps you the most, or feel helps you the most when you feel your brain is being a little tired or maybe just a little slow. Now, back to brain fog. So I'm really excited to tell you about this new experimental nootropic drug which can effectively inhibit the integrated stress response inside the cell. Its name is fittingly the integrated stress response inhibitor, or just ISRIB for short. Older mice treated with ISRIB showed significant improvements in memory function, locating an escape tunnel on average 20 seconds faster than the mice who did not receive the treatment. They also made fewer errors on memory tests and performed almost identically to the much younger mice on a battery of cognitive tests. And similar improvements in long-term memory were observed following ISRIB administration on birds. The effect is so profound that ISRIB treatment has been dubbed as being able to reset the brain, potentially reversing age-related memory decline. And while reset is a particularly strong word to use, I feel like its use here is pretty fitting, as even brief administration of ISRIB was found to have long-lasting effects on the integrated stress response and on memory function. One way ISRIB treatment could achieve this is through reversing the age-associated increase in after hyperpolarization, making it easier for nerve cells to fire signals to other nerve cells around them and thus communicate. There is a staggering amount of research which suggests that ISRIB holds so much promise in the treatment of age-related memory decline and traumatic brain injury. And I, for one, would like to think that it would also prove invaluable in the treatment of brain fog too. After all, brain fog shows many of the core features of integrated stress response overactivation, and there is a similar invasion of T cells and microglia that is observed in the brains of older people. Alas, we're still a pretty long way away from ISRIB being approved for the treatment of any condition. So if you're looking for something to help with your brain fog today rather than several years down the line, let me tell you about the one thing that I feel has helped me the most through my brain fog, and that is physical exercise. Your brain potentially stands to benefit the most out of physical exercise through increased circulation to the brain, elevated dopamine and BDNF levels, and epigenetic modifications. In short, exercise may really be the best way to improve and protect brain function. To learn more about that topic, check out my video, link in the description below. I hope this video was worth your time. If it was, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. My name is Hesham, and this was just another week of Dr. Tell Me Why.